Hello, good morning everyone. Okay, so today is gonna be the section of Wednesday, April 10th. Okay, so I record a video one day ahead because tomorrow I have to go out of town for a conference and meeting in Bangkok. Okay, so we still on the topic of IS, LM, and BP. Okay. We're gonna have three curves. We're gonna have IS curve that represent equilibrium in output market. We're gonna have LM curve that represent equilibrium in money market, and we're gonna have the third one, okay, the BP curve, the curve that represent balance of payment, the curve that represent the balance between the money that flow into your country and the money that flow out of the country. Okay, the money gonna flow in or flow out depend on the real interest rate. Remember that the real estate is the return when you move the money around the world. Okay, which country have a higher real interest rate, the money or the capital gonna move to that country. Okay, if we have higher interest rate compared to the other country, the money gonna move in. If we have a lower real interest rate compared to the other country, the money or the capital gonna move out. Okay, so today we still focusing on this model IS, LM, and BP that capture the open economy. Okay, last time we talked about the case of perfectly capital mobility country that have a horizontal BP curve. Okay, and we focusing on comparing between fixed exchange rate system and flexible exchange rate system. Okay, and we talk about the case of fiscal policy on the role of the government and the case of monetary policy or the role of the central bank. Okay, so today we're gonna move on. Today we're gonna focusing on imperfectly capital mobility country. Okay, so today we're gonna focus on imperfectly capital mobility country. Okay, imperfectly capital mobility country. Can you see it? I think you cannot see it. Okay, this one may be better. Okay. Imperfectly capital mobility country. Can you see it? Okay, good. Okay. Imperfectly capital mobility country. The difference between imperfectly and perfectly capital mobility that we talked last time is only the shape of BP curve. In this case, okay, this is Y for GDP, O and R for the real interest rate. The case of imperfectly capital mobility is the BP curve gonna have the positive slope. Okay, the BP curve gonna have a positive slope like this. Okay, different from last time. Last time we talked about perfectly capital mobility country. The BP curve gonna be horizontal. Okay, but this time BP curve gonna be positive slope going up. The reason that imperfectly capital mobility have a positive slope because, okay, think about that. This is a small country. This is a country that if you want to invest your money, if you want to throw the capital into this country, you have a lot of restriction. You have a lot of conditions to follow. Okay, so the government or the central bank try to control the number of money they're gonna throw in or throw out of the country. So in this case, this country, okay, have a positive slope because, for example, if you focus on point A and point B, okay, point A and point B, both points stay on BP curve. Okay, both points stay on BP curve. As I told you last time, any point that stay on BP curve, it means that the number of money that flow in equal to the number of money that flow out. Okay, so point A is mean that at the GDP equal to Y1, at the GDP equal to Y1, if your country have the interest rate equal to R1, okay, the money that flow in gonna be equal to the money that flow out. You're gonna have balance of payment. You're gonna have balance of payment. Point A here means that at the level of GDP Y1, if your country have the real interest that equal to R1, the money that flow in gonna be equal to the money that flow out. You have balance of payment. On the other hand, at the GDP Y1, if the interest rate is too high, for example R2 or too low, here or here, okay, R3, okay. At the level of GDP Y1, if your country have a higher real interest rate, too high, R2, point X here, okay, above BP curve, okay, above BP curve here is mean that, okay, if your country have the real estate equal to R2, it means that the real estate in your country is too high, higher than normal, higher than usual. When the real estate is too high, okay, the money is gonna flow into your country a lot, okay, then the money is gonna flow in greater than the money that flow out. You have surplus, okay, balance of payment becomes surplus, okay. On the other hand, point X here, below BP curve, point X that below BP curve here is mean that the level of the real estate R3 is too low. When the real estate is too low, okay, the money is gonna move out. Because if the money move out, they're gonna get more return from the other country, more than the return in our country. So then here, when the level of the real interest rate is too low, the money is gonna move out more than the number of money that move in. Then balance of payment become deficit, okay? Then balance of payment become deficit. So then, the positive slope of BP curve comes from when it's moving from point A to point B. When it's moving from point A to point B, what does it mean? When GDP increasing from Y1 to Y2. When GDP increasing from Y1 to Y2, okay? When your economy recover, when your economy increasing, okay, get better, Y1 to Y2, okay? As I told you from last time, when your GDP increasing, when you have more money, people tend to import more the product from foreign country. Okay, again, okay, we consider the import product, we consider the product from the other country like a luxury good because we cannot produce it in our country. So when our economy become very good, when the GDP increasing from Y1 to Y2, people tend to import more. Okay, let me write down here. When your GDP increasing, people tend to import more. When people import more, it means that net export gonna be going down. Net export gonna be going down. Okay, when the economy is get better, people tend to import more, and then net export gonna be going down. So then, in order to keep the balance between the money that flow in and the money that flow out, because point B stay on BP curve, okay. When next export become lower, it means that the money start to move out. The money start to move out. So how to balance it? When the money move out, we need to do something to, okay, to put we have to do something to give more incentive, right? Okay, for the foreign investor to throw the money in to balance the money that move out. Okay, so when the economy get better, when GDP get higher, people tend to import more, then NX going down. Net export going down, the money start to move out. We have to do something to make the money flow in, okay, to be balanced or offset this one. How to make the money flow in, okay? How to make the money flow in? We need to offset the money to flow out. How to make the money to flow in? We need to increase the real interest rate. We need to increase the real estate. That's why it keeps going up like this. That's why the slope is going up, because in order to make balance between the money that flow in and the money that flow out, we need to increase the interest rate a little bit, R1 to R4, for example. Increase the interest rate a little bit, okay, in order to offset, to keep it balanced between the money flow in and the money flow out, okay. So that's why BP curve have a positive slope like this. And again, point B, point A, both of them, okay, both of them, the money flow in equal to the money flow out. We have balance of payment. Okay, so this is BP curve. for the case of imperfectly capital mobility country. Okay. Okay, next one. Okay, let me erase this one first. Okay. Okay, first we're gonna consider on the fiscal policy and monetary policy, how this policy can contribute to the economy. Okay, so here, first we're gonna focus on if the country using fixed exchange rate system. Okay. If the country using fixed exchange rate system, and then they're going to compare between fiscal policy and monetary policy. First, okay, here, for the fiscal policy, okay, for the fiscal policy. Okay, again, fiscal policy is about increasing government spending or decreasing tax. Okay. Okay, so for the graph on your left hand side here, this is gonna be IS, LM, and VP model. Okay, we're gonna have IS, LM curve, and VP curve. Can you see it? Okay. And then we have an equilibrium point here. Okay, we have an equilibrium point here. And then on your right hand side here, this is gonna be currency market. This is going to be your exchange rate, okay? Exchange rate, US dollar, okay? The price of US dollar, and then this is going to be the number of US dollar in the economy. And then you have demand for US dollar. You have supply for US dollar. Equilibrium 1, E1, okay? Okay, and when exchange rate going up, it means that US dollar become more expensive. It means that US dollar have a stronger value. Okay, US dollar becomes strong. When exchange rate going down, it means that the price of US dollar is lower. It means that the value of US dollar is weak. Okay, here you have demand for US dollar. Demand for US dollar is mean that how people want to buy the US dollar. Supply for US dollar, it means that how people want to sell the US dollar. Okay, you have equilibrium point in the currency market for US dollar. Okay, so we're going to consider two graphs here together. Okay, together. And again, this is a case of fiscal policy. Okay, increasing G or decreasing tax, increasing government spending or decreasing tax. Okay, and okay, if the government using fiscal policy like this, how it's going to affect the equilibrium point on the graph? Okay, again, IS curve, inside IS curve comes from y equal to c plus I plus g plus nx. Okay, so you can see that If the government increasing government spending, it's going to affect here, G. If the government decreasing tax, it's going to affect C, consumption. Lower the tax down, people are going to have more money left, people are going to consume more. Okay? Increasing government spending is mean that increasing G. We have more, okay, the total spending for the whole economy is going to be increasing. By using the fiscal policy like this, IS curve going to shift to the right. Okay, like this. IS curve shift to the right by increasing G and increasing tax. IS curve shift to the right. The new equilibrium point, okay, the point that IS intersect with LM, going to move to this point. E2. Point E2, okay? By using the fiscal policy, the GDP increasing from Y1 to Y2, the real interest rate increasing from R1 to R2. Okay, so then what happened? Okay, at point equilibrium E2, you see that point E2 is located above BP curve. Okay, it's located above BP curve. It's located above BP curve. What does it mean? It means that the real interest rate now that you have at R2 is too high. The real interest rate is too high. So what happened? When the real interest rate in our country is too high, higher than normal, okay, higher than the BP curve, it means that the capital or the money start to flow into our country more than before, okay. Real interest rate in our country is high or too high. It means that if people around the world move the money to our country, they're gonna get higher returns. They're gonna get higher returns. So everyone wants to move the money to our country. The capital or the money gonna flow in more. So at the equilibrium point E2, the money flow in gonna be greater than the number of money that flow out. Balance of payment becomes surplus. Okay, balance of payment becomes surplus. So how is gonna affect the equilibrium in currency market? The money start to move in more. Okay, think about it. If the real interest rate in USA is high. Everyone around the world want to move the money, want to move the capital to invest in USA. The money from China going to move to USA. The money from Japan going to move to USA. The money from Germany going to move to USA. The money going to flow into USA more, right? Okay. When the money flow in more, what going to affect the equilibrium in currency market? The money from China, if it's flow to USA, they cannot spend Chinese yuan in US economy, right? So they need to sell their money. Okay, the money from China, they need to sell their currency. They need to sell their Chinese yuan and buy US dollar. The money from Japan, they cannot use Japanese yen in USA. They need to sell Japanese yen and buy US dollar. The money from Germany, they cannot use euro dollar in USA. So what they need to do is they need to sell euro and buy US dollar. Every time when the money flow into our country, they need to buy more on our currency. So for here, okay, demand for our currency, demand for US dollar, gonna shift to the right. Okay, demand for US dollar shift to the right. The equilibrium point should be moving from E1 to E2. The equilibrium point should be moving from E1 to E2. If we use a flexible exchange rate, when the equilibrium point moving from E1 to E2, exchange rate gonna be increasing. Our currency, US dollar, gonna be stronger. But in this case, it's not. Okay, that never happened here. Because in this case, we focus if our country using fixed exchange rate, how it's gonna be. Okay, if our country using fixed exchange rate, we fix the currency here at the exchange rate E1. So what the problem we have? If we fix the exchange rate here at E1, demand already moved to the right. This is the demand point. Supply is still here. This is supply. You have the gaps, the difference between demand and supply. You can see that demand is on the right, supply is on the left. Demand is greater than supply. It means that people want to buy US dollar more than people want to sell. Okay? So here is creating shortage of US dollar. Okay? Demand of US dollar greater than supply of US dollar. People want to buy US dollar more than people want to sell. So you have a shortage of US dollar. So who have to take care of this problem? Of course, central bank. Central bank have to take care of this problem. Okay. Let's see this one. This is CB, stand for central bank. Okay, and this is the market or the whole economy. The market have a shortage of US dollar. Okay, US dollar is not enough. So what central bank have to do is central bank have to provide US dollar to the market, sell US dollar to the market. Then the US dollar will flow from the hand of central bank. Central bank can create more US dollar and sell it to the market. The US dollar will flow to the market. Okay? When central bank sell US dollar to the market have to pay back to central bank in the foreign currency. Okay? If they come from China, they have to give me Chinese yuan. If they come from Japan, they need to give me Japanese yen. So then the foreign currency will flow back to the central bank hand. That is a foreign currency. Okay. In the market, when the central bank sell US dollar more, flow it more to the market, then money supply in the market increasing and increasing. Okay. On the other hand, when the market gives the money back to the central bank going to have more foreign currency. Okay, in their hand. Foreign currency is going to be stay in national reserve of the country. National reserve going to be increasing. Okay? The country that using fixed exchange rate, they're going to have national reserve. The country that using flexible exchange rate, they may not have national reserve. For USA, they don't have it. Okay? I mean, in the real world, they don't have it because they didn't fix the exchange rate. But in a country that try to control or fix or try to manage the value of exchange rate, they have the national reserve. And national reserve is the account, the place that accounting for the number of foreign currency in the country. Okay? So by doing this, national reserve increasing. In the same time, the number of money in the economy increasing. Okay? So when the number of the money in economy increasing, we come back to ISLM model, ISLM and BP model. Okay? By trying to control the exchange rate, by trying to fix the exchange rate at E1, you have demand for US dollar greater than supply for US dollar. Then in the end, the central bank have to solve the shortage problem of US dollar by selling more US dollar to the market. Okay? When they sell more US dollar into the market, it means that the number of money in the market is going to be increasing. Okay? When the number of money in the market increasing, okay, LM curve going to shift to the right. Remember that LM curve represents equilibrium in money market. When money supply in the market or M, a capital M increasing, LM curve going to shift to the right. Okay, LM curve shifts to the right. The new equilibrium point is going to be here, E3. Okay, E3. GDP increasing in second step, Y2 to Y3. The real estate drop down a little bit to R3. Okay, so it's going to be moving two steps, going up and then going down like this. Okay, GDP increasing two steps. Here, okay. The real estate going up and going down to R3. The new equilibrium point already stay on BP curve. Okay? The new equilibrium point already stay on BP curve. So it means that now the real estate is very good. The number of money that flow in equal to the number of money that flow out. We have balance of payment again. Okay? So in this case, in the end, you can see the GDP increasing a lot. From Y1 to Y2 and Y2 to Y3. Okay? GDP increasing in two steps. So what does it mean? It means that if your country, okay, if your country is a country that having imperfectly capital mobility, okay, if your country have imperfectly capital mobility, and your country using the fixed exchange rate system, okay, fiscal policy is work. Fiscal policy is work very well. GDP increasing in two steps. Okay, Y1 to Y2, Y2 to Y3. Okay, so it's done for the first case. Okay. Next, we're gonna go to the second case. Okay, so here we're going to talk about monetary policy. Okay, monetary policy. Monetary policy is a policy of the central bank. CB stands for central bank. Okay, central bank can stimulate the economy by inject more money into the economy, increasing M. Okay, so this one we're going to talk about monetary policy. Okay, Y, O, and R for the real interest. You have IS curve, you have LM curve, and you have BP curve. This is point E1, Y1, and R1. Okay? And then on your right hand side, you're going to have equilibrium in currency market. Okay? O, S, US dollar, exchange rate. You have demand for US dollar. You have supply for US dollar. You have equilibrium point 1, the number of US dollar in the economy, exchange rate E1. Okay? Exchange rate, again, this is a nominal exchange rate. Okay? Nominal exchange rate is just like the price of the money. In this case, it's just like the price of US dollar. Okay? Again, when exchange rate going up, it means that the price of US dollar become higher. Okay? US dollar become more expensive. In this case, we say that US dollar have a stronger value. Okay? Stronger value. Strong. Okay? On the other hand, if exchange rate going down, okay, if the nominal exchange rate E1 going down, it means that the price of US dollar become cheaper. Okay? When the price of US dollar become cheaper, we say that US dollar have a weaker value. Okay? Weaker value. Okay? Going down is mean dollar is weak. Going up is mean dollar is strong. Okay? So then we have complete model. Okay? ISL MBP model on your left side and currency market, okay, for the right side. Okay, we're gonna consider two graphs. We're gonna always consider two graphs together. Okay, because this one represents equilibrium in currency market, how the value of US dollar come from, and this one we consider equilibrium in output market, equilibrium in money market, equilibrium in balance of payment. Three market in the same time, because we have three curve, three graph, okay, three lines. We have IS curve, we have LM curve, and we have BP curve. Okay, got that? Okay. So then, in this case, okay, we focus on if the central bank using monetary policy. Okay, the central bank can stimulate the economy by inject more money into the economy, increasing M. Okay, M is a nominal money supply. If the central bank increasing M, inject more money into the economy, as we learned before, okay, we're gonna have the effect on LM curve. LM curve will shift to the right. Okay, LM curve gonna shift to the right. Okay, when LM curve shift to the right, where is the new equilibrium point? The new equilibrium point is a point that IS intersect with LM. So it's going to be here, E2. Okay, GDP increasing from Y1 to Y2. Real interest rate drop down from R1 to R2. Okay? Okay? Central bank inject more money into the economy using monetary policy. Then LM curve shifts to the right. When LM curve shifts to the right, the new equilibrium point, the point that IS intersect with LM, moving from E1 to E2. As a consequence, the GDP increasing from Y1 to Y2 is good for the economy. As a consequence, the real interest rate drop down from R1 to R2. Okay? Then, as you can see, the new equilibrium point E2 is located below BP curve. The new equilibrium point located below BP curve, what does it mean? Any point that located below BP curve is mean that the real interest rate is too low, lower than normal. Okay, the real interest rate is too low. When the real interest rate in our country is too low, what happened? The money or the capital start to flow out to the other country, okay, that offer higher return or higher real interest rate. The money start to flow out. Then here at point E2, the money flow out more than the money that flow in. BP become deficit. Okay, BP become deficit. The money start to flow out more than the money that flow in. Balance of payment become deficit. Okay, so then how this affects the currency market? When the money flow out, for example, if the money flow out from USA going to China, okay, you cannot spend US dollar in China. When the money or the capital flow out from USA to China, we need to sell US dollar and buy Chinese yuan. Okay, we need to sell US dollar and buy Chinese yuan. If the money flow out from USA to Japan, we need to sell US dollar and buy Japanese yen. So every time when the money flow out of the country, we need to sell our currency. Okay. So then the money flow out more because the real interest rate is too low, lower than normal, lower than BP curve. When the money flow out, we need to sell more on our currency. When we sell more on our currency, it means that supply for US dollar will shift to the right. Okay? Supply curve shifts to the right. Okay? When supply curve shifts to the right, okay, equilibrium point should be moved from E1 to E2. Okay? If we're using flexible exchange rate system, if we use the flexible exchange rate system, the equilibrium point should be moved from E1 to E2. Then the exchange rate should be going down. The value of US dollar should become weaker. Okay? But in this case, it's not, because in this case, we're focusing on the country that using fixed exchange rate system. Okay? So if we fix exchange rate here at E1, okay, what happened? If we fix the value of US dollar here at E1, if we fix the exchange rate here at E1, the problem that we're going to have is supply is going to be here, demand is going to be here. We have the gap between demand and supply. You can see that supply is on the right side of the demand. It means that supply is greater than demand. People want to sell more than people want to buy. Okay, think about it. People want to sell US dollar more than people want to buy US dollar. So we have the problem of surplus, okay, of US dollar. We have a lot of US dollar in the market that nobody wants to buy. Okay, we have a lot of US dollar in the market that nobody wants to buy. That's why we call it the surplus problem of US dollar. So the central bank have to take care of this problem. Okay. So this is CB, central bank. This is a market. Market had a problem of surplus of US dollar. Nobody wants to buy. We have some amounts of US dollar in the market that nobody wants to buy. So central bank have to fix this problem. If nobody wants to buy, you can sell it back to central bank. Okay. So the market gonna sell the surplus of US dollar back to the central bank. Okay. When the market sell the US dollar back to the central bank have to pay or spend the money in foreign currency. Okay, foreign currency. So then what it means is central bank gonna lose a lot of foreign currency. Foreign currency stay in national reserve. So it means that national reserve of the country gonna be going down. Okay? So again, the market have the problem of surplus of US dollar. People want to sell US dollar more than people want to buy. We have some number of US dollar in the market that nobody want to buy at all. So they have to sell it back to central bank. So when central bank get the surplus of US dollar from the market, central bank have to pay it back in foreign currency. So then foreign currency in central bank hand is going to be reducing, okay? Foreign currency stay in the national reserve. So when you lose a lot of foreign currency, it means that national reserve going down, okay? So then, okay, how about the market? The market sell a lot of US dollar that nobody want to buy back to the central bank. So it means that the number of US dollar in the market, the number of US dollar in the economy is going to be going down. M going down. Okay, the number of money in the economy going down. When the number of the money in the economy going down, how it affects LM curve. Okay, again, LM curve always reflects the equilibrium in money market. When the number of money in the economy going down, LM curve gonna shift back to the left. Equilibrium point moving back to the original point. GDP going backward to the original point. Real interest rate going back to the original point. Everything going backward to the original point. Okay? So what this means in the end here is this policy, the monetary policy doesn't work. Okay? It doesn't work. The monetary policy doesn't work. Okay? If your country, okay, is imperfectly capital mobility, if your country using fixed exchange rate system, your country cannot use monetary policy because it's not work. Okay? After I showing everything to you here, the equilibrium going backward to E1, the GDP going backward to Y1, the real estate also going backward. The GDP that going backward to Y1 is mean that this policy, okay, unable to stimulate the economy. Okay, again, this policy unable to stimulate the economy. This is the case of imperfectly capital mobility that using the fixed exchange rate. Okay, if your country is imperfectly capital mobility using fixed exchange rate, okay, from what we learned here, fiscal policy work, but monetary policy doesn't work. Okay, so. Okay, so next one, okay, we still stay on imperfectly capital mobility, but now we're gonna changing from fixed exchange rate to flexible exchange rate. Okay, flexible exchange rate. Okay, so first I'm gonna start with fiscal policy. Okay, of the government, increasing G or decreasing tax. Okay. Then we have Y, we have O, we have R, GDP, real interest rate. US dollar, O, and exchange rate. Okay? You have demand for US dollar, you have supply for US dollar, you have equilibrium point, let's say E1. The number of US dollar in the economy, exchange rate, okay, E1. And again, nominal exchange rate or E here means the price of our currency. If E going up, it means that our currency become more expensive. When our currency become more expensive, it means that our currency have a stronger value. Okay, strong. Okay, when nominal exchange rate going down or E going down, it means that the price of our currency or the value of our currency become weaker. Weak. Okay. Yeah. Then you have IS curve, you have LM curve, and you have BP curve. E1, Y1, R1. Okay. This is a starting point. Okay. We have the IS, LM, and BP model on your left hand side. You have the equilibrium of currency market on your right hand side. Okay? And then, this is a case of using fiscal policy. Okay? The policy that controlled by the government. Okay? The government can stimulate the economy by increasing G, increasing government spending, and or decreasing tax. They can do both of them at the same time, or maybe they can do either one of them. Okay? So by doing this, if the government using fiscal policy to stimulate the economy, again, IS curve represent Y equal to C plus I plus G plus NX. Okay? If the government increasing G, okay, G gonna be increasing. Okay? If the government lowering the tax down, people gonna have more income, right? People spend less tax, people gonna have more money left, so people gonna consume more. Consumption is going to be increasing. By doing this fiscal policy, they're going to have a positive effect on IS curve. IS curve going to shift to the right. IS curve going to shift to the right. The equilibrium point should be moving from E1 to E2. Okay, the equilibrium point should be moving from E1 to E2. Okay, if the equilibrium point moving from E1 to E2, what happened? GDP increasing from Y1 to Y2. The real interest rate increasing from R1 to R2. Okay, from R1 to R2. So then, what happened? Okay, just like what we did before. Okay, the real interest rate increasing from R1 to R2. Okay, the real interest rate increasing from R1 to R2. Let me check a little bit. I think this one should be a little bit further to the right. Okay, let me share a little bit. Okay, one more time. Fiscal policy, the government spend more the money or decreasing tax, and then we have the effect, positive effect on IS curve. IS curve shift to the right. And then we shift a little bit further, okay? So then the new equilibrium point should be here, E2, GDP increasing from Y1 to Y2. The real interest rate increasing from R1 to R2. Okay, better. Okay. GDP increasing a lot from Y1 to Y2. Okay? Real interest rate increasing a lot from R1 to R2. Okay? The new equilibrium point, E2, is located above BP curve. So what does it mean? The new equilibrium point located above BP curve, it means that the real interest rate is too high. Okay? The real interest rate is too high. When the real interest rate in our country is too high, the money gonna start to flow into our country more. When the real interest rate is high, it means that the return, okay, the return of your money, if you invest your money in our country, is gonna be higher. The money from China, the money from Germany, the money from Japan start to flow into our country more because we offer higher real interest rate, right? The money gonna flow in more. Okay? So in this case, the new equilibrium point is located above BP curve. The money gonna flow in more than the money that flow out. Okay? When the money flow in more than the money that flow out, balance of payment becomes surplus. Okay, balance of payment becomes surplus. Okay, when balance of payment becomes surplus, when the money flow in more than the money flow out, how it affects the currency market. Every time when the money flow into our country, they need to buy our currency more. When the money flow from Japan to USA, they need to sell Japanese yen and buy US dollar. Every time that the money flow into our country, they need to buy more on. They need to buy our currency more. Okay? Then demand for US dollar gonna shift to the right. Okay? And this is a case of flexible exchange rate system. If the country using flexible exchange rate system, demand shift to the right, equilibrium point move from E1 to E2. We have more US dollar in the economy. Exchange rate increasing from E1 to E2. Exchange rate increasing from E1 to E2. The price of US dollar increasing. US dollar become more expensive. It means that US dollar becomes strong. Okay? US dollar becomes strong. Okay? So how it affect our economy? Okay? So here, when you have strong US dollar, okay, when you have strong US dollar, everything that made in USA become more expensive. Everything that made in USA become more expensive, right? Everything that made outside USA become cheaper, okay? So what does it mean? It means that we're gonna export less and import more. Because of this, NX gonna be lower. NX gonna be lower. When NX become lower, where is NX? NX is here, right? NX is inside IS curve. IS curve gonna shift back to the left. Okay, IS curve gonna shift back to the left. It is the first effect. Okay, the first effect. IS curve gonna shift back to the left. Okay, this is the first effect. When US dollar becomes stronger, when US dollar becomes more expensive, everything, all the product, all the service that made in USA going to become more expensive to the rest of the world. Since the product in USA, the product that made in USA become more expensive to the rest of the world, we're going to export or sell our product to the rest of the world less than before. We're going to export less. On the other hand, when our currency becomes stronger, all the product and service that made outside USA, okay, look cheaper to the eye of American people. Okay? For American people, everything that made outside USA becomes cheaper. So what we're gonna do? American people gonna buy more the product from the other country. We're gonna import more. Okay? Export less, import more, then net export become reducing, and X become reducing. And X is inside IS curve. Remember, IS curve comes from the equation y equal to c plus I plus g plus nx. When nx reducing, IS curve going to shift to the left. This is the first effect. Okay, this is the first effect. Then, how about the second effect? When we have a strong US dollar, when we have the strong currency, all the assets in USA, it is about asset, okay? All the assets in USA, assets means stock, okay? Stock of the company, land, housing, building, okay? Bonds, government bond, corporate bond, all the assets in USA. When US dollar becomes stronger, all the assets in USA become more expensive. Okay, all the assets in USA become more expensive. When US dollar becomes stronger, all the assets in USA become more expensive. So, for the foreign investor, when they're gonna invest their money in USA, for example, Chinese investor, they may be thinking about buying the stock, investing the money in the stock market in USA in Dow Jones. Then US dollar becomes stronger, it means that for them, stock in the market become more expensive. They're gonna invest less. They're gonna throw the money to USA less. Okay. For example, the other example, Japanese. Okay. For the Japanese investor, they may be thinking buying a new building in New York. Okay. When US dollar becomes stronger, the price of the building become more expensive. So they may be changing their decision on throw the money to USA. Okay, they may be throw the money less than before. Okay. On the other hand, asset in other country will look cheaper. Okay. When US dollar becomes stronger, for American investor, for the people that have US dollar in their hands, okay, they will be looking at that, they will be thinking that, okay, it seems like for them, the price of the asset in the rest of the world, stock in China, building in Japan, bonds in Germany, everything looks cheaper. So then, for American investor or any investor that have US dollar in their hand, they tend to move their money to the other country, move their money or move their capital to invest in the stock market, in the bonds in the other country, okay, because it looks cheaper, okay. Because of this, the money, everything, all the asset in USA become more expensive. The money or the capital they're gonna throw into USA less than before. Because of the strong US dollar, everything, all the asset outside USA look cheaper. Then the money gonna start to move out. See that? The money gonna move in less and move out more, just because of the strong of US dollar in the term of capital. Okay, how they're gonna invest the money. So then, okay, the money gonna start to flow out more than flow in. Okay, in the term of capital. How are we gonna stop this to happen? Okay, again, remember that BP curve represents any point on BP curve represents the point that the money flow in should be equal to the money that flow out, right? So then, because of the strong US dollar, how are we going to stop this? The money starts to flow out more, the money starts to flow in less. How to stop this thing to happen? How to stop it? Okay, we need to increase the interest rate to stop the money that flow out. Okay, when we increase the interest rate, the money gonna stop flowing out. The money gonna start to flow in more, and then we're gonna have balance of payment again. So by increasing the interest rate, okay, BP curve have to shift up. Okay, BP curve have to shift up to offset the effect of strong US dollar. Okay, again, one more time. When US dollar becomes stronger, they have the effect on the behavior of the movement of the capital. Okay, when US dollar becomes stronger, okay, all the assets in USA look more expensive to the rest of the world. Okay, then people are gonna invest less money in USA. The money gonna flow in less. Okay, when US dollar becomes stronger, all the assets outside USA look cheaper. Okay, then the money or the capital will start to move out to invest in the other country. Then they have imbalance, okay? Imbalance between the money that flow out, because the money flow out more than the money that flow in. How to prevent this happen? How to prevent this thing to happen? How to stop it? Okay, the way to stop it is we need to increase the interest rate. We need to increase the real interest rate. When we increase the real interest rate, return in our country is higher. Then the capital or the money that move out gonna be stopped. Okay. The capital will start to move in more, and then we're going to have balance of payment again. By increasing the real interest rate, BP curve have to shift up. Okay, by increasing the real interest rate, BP curve have to shift up. Okay, the new level of the real interest rate that going to have balance between the money that flow in and the money that flow out, going to come from the BP curve that shift up. Okay, so now we have two effects. Okay, we have two effects. Okay, the effect on net export and the effect on capital flow. Okay, the effect on net export, IS curve, gonna shift back to the left. The effect on capital flow, the real interest rate should be increasing, then the BP curve should be shift up. Okay, then we're gonna put two effects in the graph. IS curve shift back to the left, BP curve shift up a little bit. Okay, so that is how it's gonna be. IS curve, shift back to the left, BP curve, shift up. The new equilibrium point is going to be here, E3, Y3, R3. Okay? IS curve, shift back to the left to the black curve, BP curve, shift up. Okay, like this. The equilibrium point going backward to the left a little bit to the point E3. GDP used to increase from Y1 to Y2, now it's going backward to the left a little bit to Y3. Real interest rate used to be increasing from R1 to R2, now it's going down a little bit to R3. The new equilibrium point E3 is stay on LM curve, stay on IS curve, and stay on BP curve in the same time. Three curves intersect to each other in the same time. So then the new equilibrium point E3, you have balance of payment again. The money flow in equal to the money flow out. Okay. However, in this case, okay, GDP that used to be increasing from Y1 to Y2, but now is going backward to Y3. It means that the effect of this policy, the effect of the fiscal policy is smaller than usual. It's only increasing from Y1 to Y3. So it means that fiscal policy in this case, okay? Fiscal policy in this case, okay? If you are imperfectly capital mobility, if your country using flexible exchange rate for the fiscal policy, they can stimulate the economy only a small effects, very small, okay? Small positive effects, okay? The fiscal policy have a very small positive effects on the economy, on the GDP. Okay, so in this case. Okay, done. Then we're gonna go to the next one. Okay. Okay, so we still focusing on imperfectly capital mobility. We still focusing on flexible exchange rate system. But now we're going to talk about monetary policy, okay, of the central bank when they inject more money into the economy. Okay. Just like before, we're going to have two graphs. Y, O, R. S, O, and E. Okay. We're going to have IS, LM, and BP curve. E1, Y1, R1. You're gonna have equilibrium point in currency market. Demand for US dollar, supply for US dollar, equilibrium point 1, US dollar 1, E1. If the exchange rate going up, it means that our currency becomes stronger. If the nominal exchange rate going down, it means that our currency become weaker. Okay? So far so good? Okay? So then this case is a case of if the central bank using monetary policy to stimulate the economy, the central bank can increasing M, inject more money into the economy. Okay, if the central bank doing this, we're gonna have the positive effects on LM curve. Okay, LM curve gonna shift to the right, like this. Okay, LM curve shift to the right, like this. Okay, LM curve shift to the right. The new equilibrium point is gonna be here. E2, GDP increasing from Y1 to Y2. The real interest rate drop down from R1 to R2. Okay. If the central bank inject more money into the economy, LM curve shift to the right. As a consequence, the equilibrium point moving from E1 to E2. GDP increasing from Y1 to Y2. The real estate going down R1 to R2. At the new equilibrium point E2, okay, at the new equilibrium point E2, the new equilibrium point E2 is located below BP curve. Okay, the new equilibrium point E2, the point that IS intersect with the new LM curve, located below BP curve. What does this mean? The new equilibrium point that located below BP curve is mean that the real interest rate here that you have R2 is a little bit too low, lower than normal. When the real estate is too low, the money start to move out, the capital start to move out because the return in our country is lower. They try to move the money out to invest in the other country that offer a higher return, higher real interest rate, right? So then the money gonna move out more than the money that move in. When the money move out more, balance of payment become deficit. Okay, balance of payment become deficit. When the money move out of the country, they need to sell the currency. When the money move out from USA to Japan, they need to sell US dollar and buy Japanese yen. So when the money move out of the country, they need to sell more US dollar. When they sell more US dollar, supply for US dollar shift to the right. The equilibrium point move from E1 to E2. Okay. Then what happened? The new equilibrium point move from E1 to E2. You're gonna have more US dollar in the market. Then equilibrium point going down. E1 exchange rate going down from E1 to E2. Okay, exchange rate going down. When exchange rate going down, it means that the price of US dollar going down. US dollar become weak. Okay, US dollar become weaker than before. How it affects the whole economy? Okay, weak US dollar. How it affects the whole economy? When US dollar become weak, okay, all the US product, the product that made in USA, all the US product, all the product that made in USA become cheaper. Okay. For the product outside USA, okay, foreign product become more expensive for American people. Okay. Domestic product, the product that made in USA, become cheaper to the rest of the world. Okay. When the product in USA become cheaper to the rest of the world, we're gonna export more. Okay. For the product that made outside USA, for the foreign product, gonna look cheap, look more expensive. Okay, more expensive to the eye of American people. Then American people gonna buy less foreign product. Okay, import less. Two of this is mean that net export become increasing. Okay, net export become increasing. When net export become increasing, we're gonna have effects on IS curve. Because IS curve, remember, IS curve comes from the equation y equal to c plus I plus g plus nx, right? So then, net export increasing, IS curve gonna shift to the right. Okay, this is the first effects. IS curve in this case gonna shift to the right. Okay, this is the first effects. How about the second effect? How about the second effect? For the week of US dollar, what this means is, okay, for the domestic asset, all the asset in USA, domestic asset gonna look cheaper. Okay, all the asset in USA, stock in USA, bond in USA, land, housing, building, factory, everything in USA. Okay, all the asset in USA gonna look cheaper. When all the asset in USA look cheaper, what does it mean? For the foreign investor, they want to invest more money in USA. They want to flow the money in USA more. The capital going to flow into USA more. On the other hand, foreign asset going to become more expensive. Okay? Foreign asset going to become more expensive. Okay? What does it mean? Stock outside USA. Okay? Bonds outside USA, right? Building, housing, land outside USA become more expensive. So then for the American people, they're gonna invest less money outside USA. They're gonna throw the capital outside USA. They're gonna throw the capital or money out of USA less than before. The money gonna flow out less than before. So because of this, right? The money gonna flow in more than the money that flow out. Balance of payment become not balanced anymore. The money around the world want to invest, want to throw into USA because everything, all the assets in USA look cheaper. Okay? The money of American investor gonna flow out less than before because everything outside USA become more expensive. Balance of payment become imbalanced now. The money flow out more than the money flow in. How to stop this thing to happen? Okay, we need to lower the real interest rate. If we lower the real interest rate, the money gonna stop flowing in. Okay? Because the return in our country is lower. The money gonna stop flowing in. When the real interest rate is lower, the money gonna start flowing out in a little bit more. Okay? Then the money flow in and the money flow out gonna be balanced or equal again. Okay? We're gonna offset these effects by lower the real interest rate down. By doing this, lower the real interest rate down, it means that the BP curve have to shift down. Remember, BP curve represents the level of the real interest rate that make the money flow in equal to the money that flow out. So in this case, we have the weak US dollar. In order to make the money flow in equal to the money flow out again, we have to lower the real interest rate down. So it means that we have to shift the BP curve down. Okay, so in this case, BP curve gonna shift down. Down. So we have two effects. The weak of US dollar, when US dollar become weak, IS curve shift to the right because we can export more, import less. BP curve gonna shift down because we have to lower the real interest down to stop the money that flow in from the cheaper domestic asset. Okay, two of these happen together. Okay, IS curve shift to the right. BP curve shift down. IS curve shift to the right, BP curve shift down. The equilibrium point, new equilibrium point here is E3. Okay? Y, GDP increasing a little bit more. Y2 to Y3. Okay? The real estate going down a little bit, R3. Okay, BP curve shift down to the black one. IS curve shift to the right. The new equilibrium point is here, E3. The new equilibrium point is a point that IS intersect with LM and intersect with BP, right? Okay. So the new equilibrium point here, how it's performed? It's good or bad? Okay. It's very good because GDP increasing in two steps. Y1 to Y2 and Y2 increasing more to Y3. GDP increasing a lot in this case. In two steps. Y1 to Y2, Y2 to Y3. So what does it mean? It means that if your country using the imperfectly capital mobility, if your country is an imperfectly capital mobility, if your country using flexible exchange rate, the effects of monetary policy is very good, very large positive effects. Compared to fiscal policy have only a small positive effect. However, on the other hand, the monetary policy offers a higher, larger positive effect. So what this means is, if your country is imperfectly capital mobility using flexible exchange rate, if you are the policy maker, you better use monetary policy rather than using the fiscal policy. Okay, good. Okay, so after we done, talking about IS, LM, and BP model. So this time we're gonna go backward a little bit to LM and IS and LM model. Okay. So let's coming back to this model. Okay, Y, O, and R. Okay, let's go back to only IS and LM. Okay, let's go back to this one. Okay, E1, Y1, and R1. Okay. If we going back to the original model, IS and LM, this one I take BP away. Okay, I take BP away. We only focus on IS and LM curve. Okay. So for this topic, we're gonna talk about the interaction between the government and central bank. Okay. As you know, in this model, we take BP curve away. Okay. We focus on IS, just only IS and LM. Okay, as you know, okay. For IS curve comes from Y equal to C plus I plus G plus NS. Here is a government, right? So then it means that the government can using fiscal policy, okay, to control IS curve. Okay, to control IS curve. On the other hand, for LM curve depends on the real money supply M over P. And then the central bank, CB or Fed, okay, can control the number of money in the economy, and then they can control LM curve by using monetary policy. Okay, monetary policy and fiscal policy. Okay. The government can using fiscal policy to control IS curve. On the other hand, the central bank or Fed can using monetary policy to control LM curve. So then, okay, sometimes both organizations, okay, government and central bank, both of them sometimes going in the same way. Sometimes both of them going in a different way and creating some conflict. Okay, creating some conflict. Okay, so let's see. So now in this topic, we're gonna see the role of the government and the role of the central bank. Okay, and then how it interact to each other. Okay, so normally, if I divide the role of the government and the role of the central bank, okay, in this table, okay, the government have a responsibility to take care about economic growth. Normally, they're gonna take care about GDP or Y. Okay, they take care about GDP or Y. The government just want to take care of the economic growth, try to increasing Y as high as possible, increasing GDP as high as possible, and at the same time also take care of the unemployment problem. Okay, unemployment problem. When economy is good, when GDP is high, the country gonna produce more, produce a lot. When the country produce more, produce a lot, we're gonna hire more labor. Everyone gonna get a job. When every labor, every people in the economy get a job, everyone get a good life, right? Everyone gonna have a good life because when you have a job, you work, you get the money, you can spend that money to take care of yourself, you can spend that money to take care of the family, okay? Everything move on, okay? But when economic growth is really bad, when GDP is really low, okay? So it means that firms gonna reduce, lower their production. When the country lower the production down, it means that many labor gonna be laid off. They're gonna lay off a lot of labor. Many people gonna lose their job. when people lose their job, unemployment increasing. When you don't have a job, okay, you don't have money, you cannot take care of yourself, you cannot take care of your family, it's going to create social problem. Okay, so the government take care of this one. On the other hand, the central bank take care of the number of money in the economy. The central bank take care of the interest rate. Okay? The central bank take care of inflation. And the central bank normally have to take care of inflation. Why inflation is very important? Okay? If inflation is too high, what does it mean? It means that everything become more expensive. Okay? Very fast. Everything become more expensive very fast. Next month, price increasing. The other month, price keep increasing. When everything become more expensive very fast, it means that you work all day, all night, you work for a whole month, you get the money, and then you figure it out that the money that you get from your hard work can buy less product. Okay, can buy less product. When everything become more expensive, the purchasing power of the money become decreasing. Okay? When everything become more expensive, the real value of the money decreasing. This is bad for the people, right? Okay? Think about yourself. If you're working very hard and then you found out that the money that you get can buy less product than before. Everyone will be upset. Okay? The quality of life of the people will be decreasing or going down. Okay? So this is a big issue, big problem. So the central bank have responsibility to take care of the inflation. Okay? And the central bank take responsibility to take care of the exchange rate. Exchange rate, interest rate. Interest rate and money supply in the economy. Okay, so this one. Okay. So normally we're gonna divide the responsibility of the government and the central bank like this. Okay. But one more thing. Okay, one more thing. Normally, for the most country, the government will come from election, and the government will stay in power mostly 4 years. Some countries maybe 5. Most of the country will be 4 years. The government will stay on the country for 4 years. So in the real world, the government trained to overspending. Okay, in the real world, the government of many countries trained to overspending. Okay, why? Because the government comes from election. Okay. So the government loves to spend a lot of money in order to gain the popularity from the people, right? So many times the government of many countries train to spend too much money because they want to gain more popularity. They want to win all the other election, okay, something like that. So this one sometimes is not good. If the government spending too much money, it's going to create a lot of debt, okay? So sometimes what the government try to do, okay, central bank, they don't like it, okay? So sometimes central bank try to stop it, try to slow it down. So many times they have the conflict between central bank and the government, okay? Because if the government spending too much, okay, they're creating a lot of debt. When the government spending too much, the money going to the economy too much, everything's gonna be more expensive. Then you have inflation. Because the central bank have to do something to stop it, okay? So many times they're going to have conflict between government and the central bank. So then, in this case, okay, in this topic, we're going to talk about the interaction, okay, between government and central bank. Okay. In this case, we're going to talk about the response of central bank. Okay. We're going to have 3 cases. Okay. Okay, response of central bank. We have case 1. We're gonna have case 2, and we're gonna have case 3. Okay. Okay, this is a graph for the first case. This is a graph for the second case. And this is a graph for the third case. Okay, so we're gonna have three cases. How the central bank responds to the fiscal policy of the government. Okay, we're gonna have three cases here. Okay, so as I told you before, for the government, most of the government come from election. Okay, so the government tend to overspending. The government loves to spend more money. The government loves to spend a lot of money to have a new public project, build more highway, build more airport, build more deep sea port, build more train system, upgrade this, upgrade that, okay? Upgrade infrastructure. The government loves to spend a lot of money on this. Because if the government spend a lot of money on this, upgrade many infrastructure, people are going to become happier, right? Okay, people are going to get happier, create a lot of jobs, people get a job, the economy is good, okay? When the economy is good, everyone happy, so the government, okay, going to get more popularity and they can win more election in the future, okay? But many times the government spend too much, so the central bank have to be responsible, okay? So in these three cases, okay, the government going to spend more, spend more money, okay? Spend more on government spending, okay? Maybe lower the tax down, okay? By doing this, on three cases, they're gonna have the same consequence. IS curve, okay, gonna shift to the right, okay? On three cases, IS curve gonna shift to the right because of the government increasing G, okay? The government increasing G or lower the tax down, okay? IS curve shift to the right, the new equilibrium point moving from E1 to E2, GDP increasing from Y1 to Y2. The real interest rate increasing from R1 to R2. Okay? IS curve shift to the right, equilibrium point moving from E1 to E2, Y increasing from Y1 to Y2, and the real interest rate increasing R1 to R2. Same thing here. IS curve shift to the right, equilibrium point moving from E1 to E2, Y1 increasing from Y1 to Y2, R1 increasing R1 to R2. Okay. In all three cases here come from when the government using fiscal policy, increasing government spending or lowering the tax down. IS curve shift to the right. As a consequence, okay, GDP keep increasing in all three cases. GDP increasing from Y1 to Y2. In the same time, the real interest rate increasing from R1 to R2. Again, in this case, we don't care about BP curve. I take BP curve away. Okay, we're just focusing on IS and LM. Okay. So then, after the first move of the government, after the government spend more the money trying to stimulate the economy from Y1 to Y2, okay, then how the central bank gonna respond? Okay, how the central bank gonna respond? Again, as the topic said, this is gonna be the response of the central bank. Okay, the response of the central bank. How the central bank gonna respond to the government? The first way that the central bank can do is the central bank can keep the number of money in the economy to be constant. Okay, keep the number of money in the economy to be constant. Okay, didn't change the number of money in the economy. Okay, if the central bank using this policy, keep the number of the money constant. Okay, the money supply in the economy is still the same. So it means that in the first case, LM curve will be the same, not move. Because the number of money is constant, LM curve not move. The equilibrium in money market is not move. LM curve is not move. So then, in the end, GDP increasing Y1 to Y2. This is the first response, the first way of central bank response. Okay? The second way here, okay? This one, okay? The central bank can respond by trying to keep the real interest rate, okay, to be constant. Okay, keep the real interest rate to be constant. If the central bank using this policy, the central bank may be thinking that, hey, the real interest rate increasing R1 to R2, this is too high for the economy. Okay, the real interest rate increasing from R1 to R2 is too high for the economy. Okay, so the central bank want to keep the real interest rate to be stable, to be constant. They want the real interest rate to going down to R1 again. Okay, they want the real interest rate to go down to R1 again. They may thinking that the real interest rate here is too high. Okay, it's not good for the economy. So how central bank gonna do? Okay, in this case, if the central bank want to keep the real interest rate to be constant, the central bank can do it by increasing M in the economy. Inject more money into the economy. By doing this, okay, LM curve will shift to the right. Equilibrium point move from E2 to E3. GDP increasing from Y1 to Y3. The real estate going back to R1 again. Okay? So then here, the central bank can keep the real interest rate to be constant. Okay? As a consequence of this one, after they keep the real interest rate to be constant, the GDP increasing more in the second step. Y2 to Y3. So in this case, GDP increasing a lot. Okay? This is like the government and the central bank trying to stimulate the economy together, moving in the same way, going to the right side. Okay? So this is how the central bank responds by trying to keep the real interest rate to be constant. Okay? Our curve will shift to the right because of the central bank gonna inject more money into the economy. Okay? Last one, number 3. Last one, number 3. The central bank can respond by try to keep the GDP to be constant. Okay? Try to keep the GDP to be constant, keep Y to be constant. In this case, the central bank may be thinking that GDP here at Y1 is the best. GDP here at Y1 is the best. It's not good to push the economy even more from Y1 to Y2. When the economy growing too much, when the economy growing too high, this one, okay, for example, central bank believe that Y1 is perfect. If it increasing more to Y2, this is too much. It's creating like a big bubble, okay, to the economy. This is not good. So the central bank want to slow it down. Okay, so the central bank want to keep it at Y1. They don't want to increase it to Y2. Central bank thinking that the government is spending too much, the economy growing too fast. Okay, the central bank can slow it down by destroy the money in the economy, reducing M. Destroy the money, reducing M. Okay, when the central bank doing like this, decreasing M, destroy the money in the economy, LM curve will shift back to the left. Then the equilibrium point moving backward from E2 back to E3. Okay? GDP now going backward to Y1 as central bank want. Okay, GDP going backward to Y1 again, so they can keep Y1 to be constant. As a consequence of this policy, the real interest rate increasing even more from R1 to R3. Okay? The government spend more. On the other hand, the central bank slow it down. Okay? Back the LM curve to the left, then GDP is still stable. Y still constant at Y1, but as a consequence, the real interest rate is going up. Okay, from R1 to R2, from R2 to R3, okay, increasing a lot. Okay, so here, this is how the central bank responds to the government fiscal policy in three ways. Okay, in 3 ways, starting from if the government spend more the money, increasing G or reducing the tax. The central bank can respond in 3 ways. The first way, keep the money supply in the economy to be constant or to be stable. The second way is to keep the real interest rate to be constant or to be stable. And the third way is to keep the GDP or the economy Y to be constant or to be stable. Okay, we have 3 ways.